What's up everybody, welcome back to Rants and Headaches. Thank you so much for watching. I came across a story that pretty much infuriated me, and just as I was about to film the video, there has been a turnaround in the story. There's a 90-year-old volunteer who worked with the MS Society and served for 60 years, who was forced to step down because she asked what pronouns were. When it comes to pronouns in bios or pronouns being required in professional emails, that to me is very icky. I really think that should be a matter of personal choice. If I want to introduce myself and include my pronouns, that should be my choice and no one should hold it against me. But likewise, if I don't want to introduce myself by saying I go by she, her pronouns, I really shouldn't have to. But in this case, it seems that she was just genuinely confused. I'm sorry, but this stuff is relatively new. Pronouns being included in bios and in professional emails, this is still a relatively new thing. It is perfectly fine for her to ask a clarification, because basically she was asked to add her pronouns to her email signature, and she asked what the person meant. That is what happened. And the dumbasses at the MS Society fired her because it goes against their diversity and inclusion policies. If asking a question this basic and this simple, which really seemed to be a matter of just trying to clarify something, it had nothing to do with being mean or bigoted or ugly, violates your diversity and inclusion policies, you might want to look at your diversion and inclusion policies. They might not be the best policies. I just think it's an infuriating story, but there was a lot of backlash over this and the story went viral. And now we have an update. MS Society U-turns and issues groveling apology to fired 90-year-old volunteer who they forced to step down after she asked what pronouns meant. Even if you know what a pronoun is, if you don't spend a lot of time on TikTok, if you've never seen pronouns in bio or pronouns in a professional email before, it's going to be confusing to you if someone says, hey, you need to start including your pronouns in your email signature. Like, people who have not been exposed to this stuff are not going to know what you're talking about. That's a perfectly reasonable reaction. NMSS admitted it fell short but claimed it acted with best intentions. This is one of those situations where I don't care that your intentions were good. You applied zero common sense to what you were doing. You did not consider the context of the situation. Fran had served the nonprofit for multiple sclerosis patients for 60 years with her late husband running the Long Beach Lakewood chapter prior to his death. She was left stunned when her bosses fired her on January 19th following an exchange with a colleague who asked her to use her pronouns in email signatures. The nonprofit doubled down on its decision, saying it acted with the best intentions despite a furious backlash where supporters threatened to withhold their funds. Good. I hate it because multiple sclerosis patients are kind of left in the middle of this if this were to have been a very dragged out thing. I certainly would not want someone to feel like they can't donate to help people because of something the organization has done. But if your organization is doing shitty things, then your organization is doing shitty things. But on Wednesday, the organization announced it was rolling back on its stance, admitting it fell short and offering a groveling apology to INCOF. Recently, we asked Fran to step down from her role as a group leader because of statements made that we viewed as not aligning with our recently implemented diversity, equity, and inclusion policy. The statement read, "We realize now that we made a mistake and we should have had more conversations with Fran before making this decision." You fucking think? You didn't give her an opportunity to defend herself. You didn't give her an opportunity to explain her side. She was simply trying to clarify. She was trying to clarify what the expectation was. That is it. If you are going to be upset at an older person for asking you to clarify what you mean, if you want them to put their pronouns in their signature, babe, you're the problem. Not them, you're the problem. If you can't so much as have a simple conversation and explain to someone who is asking in earnest what you mean, then shut up. Just shut up about inclusion. Shut up. Because you don't care about explaining what you mean. You just want to be offended anytime someone doesn't understand. That's not intelligent. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it is. However, the nonprofit repeated its defense of acting in best intentions and blamed a lack of protocol for the decision. We should have spent more time with Fran to help her understand why, as an organization, we are dedicated to building a diverse and inclusive movement where everyone has equitable access to care, connections, and support they need to live their best lives. The statement added. Okay. All right, this is where you guys give me a headache. Okay. Putting pronouns in your bio does not save the world. I'm so sorry that I have to be the one to tell you this. Putting your pronouns in your email signature, you're not saving anyone, babe. I know a lot of y'all are convincing yourselves that you're out here being some kind of hero if you got pronouns in your email signature. You're not. You're not a hero. Okay? You're doing something you believe is good. I get that. But what does putting pronouns in your email do to build a diverse and inclusive movement where everyone has equitable access to the care, connections, and support that they need? There's not a connection there. There's not a connection. What the hell are you talking about? Pronouns in an email are not that serious. And honestly, I don't think she should have faced any consequences either if she had understood what was being asked of her and just said, I would rather not put my pronouns in my email signature, thank you. People should not be forced to do this. They should not be. If people who value that want to put pronouns in their email signature, that should be perfectly fine. That should be considered acceptable. But to pressure people to do that, I don't find that acceptable at all. She was let go via email after a representative at the company asked her to begin using pronouns on her email signature, but she did not know what it meant. I had seen it on a couple of letters that had come in after the person's name, but I didn't know what it meant, the senior said, because it sounds like you are labeling for females, not males, if you are just putting in she, her. It's definitely not that way. People who want to use he, him pronouns will put that in their bios as well. But from her perspective and just what she's been exposed to, she's only seen she, her. And honestly, yeah, I would absolutely consider that sexist. Why do females have to specifically identify themselves and guys don't? A few days later, she receives an email accusing her of violating the MS Society's diversity, equity, and inclusion guidelines. You know, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and none of those are bad things per se, but I feel like we're really not thinking these policies through before we put them into place. That seems to be a consistent issue with this. Unfortunately, based on the situation, we have made the difficult decision to have you step down from your volunteer position effective immediately, the email reads. She said, I was completely shocked. I can't believe I had to read it a couple times to see if I'm getting what she said. Ellie, Fran's daughter, said at the time, to me it's ironic because they're saying they are inclusive, but they're excluding a 90-year-old disabled woman who has volunteered for 60 years. Exactly. And here's the thing, a lot of people who preach about inclusion and inclusivity policies are very exclusive people, and they want policies that are very exclusive. If you do not agree with everything that they believe, then you're a problem, you're not good enough, you're creating a toxic environment, and therefore you can't be here. It's really very ironic. You don't believe in inclusion if you believe that anyone who thinks differently than you should be excluded. Having said all of that, at the end of the day, I do think that they realized they made a mistake and they tried to fix it. But at the same time, it's one of those situations where had this not received attention, she would not have been given the opportunity back. And maybe she won't take it. That's up to her. I don't know how she feels at this point. It's her decision whether or not she wants to reach out to them and accept. I don't think she should feel obligated to accept anything from these people after what they did to her. But I just think it's really unfortunate that so many of these policies really do come from a good place. It really does come from a place of people wanting to make sure that workplaces are diverse, because oftentimes we see a lack of effort there. I get wanting an environment where people are treated fairly. I get wanting to create an environment where people don't feel excluded. But at the same time, if we're not thinking through the policies that we're putting in place, a lot of times we're doing just as much harm as if we didn't have the policies, or more harm. But to me, it's really to the point where I'm so tired of seeing these types of stories, and I just am sick and tired of hearing, oh, we had good intentions. No shit you had good intentions, okay? Good intentions, you can't just do whatever you want to people and then say, oh, but I had good intentions, so That should be enough, right? No, it's not enough. Try again. It's just, you have like the most well-educated scholars in the world, literally, who are coming up with these diversity policies and these equity policies and these inclusion policies. And these are the dumbass results that we're getting. Anyways, that's all I have for this video. If you enjoyed this video, have this video, or even just a quarter of this video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe.